I think Doomfist is the only meta shattering pick that we've seen, and it hasn't really come out that often. Definitely comes through on the payload type maps, but never too much to really pop off. But what I do want to see is now, other picks. Obviously, Alari has been a really powerful support that's been added to the game that has completely shifted how a lot of support players play. Instead of being passive in the back line, and like we saw in Overwatch 1, they're just going for it, being aggro as possible and getting plays of the game more often than they get wins, which is funny. So let's see if that's the same strategy. I know that we're going to be getting started pretty soon here, Golu, but any predictions when you know these two teams and you've seen a lot from them?
I think consistency is always a big factor for me, and I'm always leaning on the side of the team that has that sort of consistent backbone to a squad, and I think the Pit Ponies just have that, right? They're the first seed from their group, so that's already a little bit of favoritism. Well, not favoritism as in my favoritism, but as in they're going to be put favored in this matchup just because they're the first seed. I think coming in, expecting them to be playing a little bit closer towards the sort of meta picks right now. And I think over a longer series, you got that best of 5 that they're still going to be playing, so same length as the group stage games. I think they've looked really consistent. They've been very good at bouncing back if they get sort of put on a back foot, if they lose an opening team fight, if the point starts to get away from them, they're very good about quickly regrouping, getting back on, setting them up for another engagement. The one thing that I am ready to see is that Alari going to be coming in. There was a TikTok the other day, and it was like, it was from the perspective of a soldier, and he was like raving about how great his support was, and then it cuts to Alari's POV, who's missing every single shot, but just has a sentry put down, and the sentry just keeps soldier alive through like an entire 5-man team fight. Nuts what that sentry does. It's absolutely broken.
If it works, it works. But what now is going on is they're immediately on the site, and what already? The first death, the Bastion falls, so will the Symmetra, so will Lion, and that is just so fast. So yeah, we are seeing the Junkrat. You kind of call it there in the hands of Pizza Lover. So team kill without even the point unlocked yet. So very fast on the aggression from this team.
Yeah, Sato again on this Bastion, which we've come to expect, but it not really working out for them. The TP plays matched by both squads as they're going for round 2, jumping over the top, dropping the sentries down first.
Yeah, and with all these sentries, they are cooking a little bit, but not going to be able to do too much. However, point is going to be captive finally by the Pit Ponies. They're on it. They're ready to start earning their points. And, a lot of the time here at the Welsh Esports League, I will say, Golu, we have seen this game mode on Lijiang always be a 2-0. I think we've seen it, go to a third map in quite some time.
Yeah, I think we've seen, maybe one this season in, 4 games we've had, so it really isn't that often. Trying to speed boost the Reinhardt in, but taking so much chip damage early on. The Shatter coming through to stop the Bastion in sentry form takes away a massive amount of damage, and DBX going down really hurts the opportunity for the Wolfhounds here, but Pizza Lover coming in with the Riptire to make things even once again, and now looking to try and find another angle into the fight as both Reinhardts go screaming past each other, but Pizza Lover goes down.
Wow, good stuff from them. Might be able to do it again, and looks like they will succeed in some regard. And yeah, sides are going to switch over. Now, talking about ultimates, we're 1 second away from having both supports on the side of Wolfhounds to be able to pop theirs, and that pretty much guarantees a team fight if you can play it around it. You compare that over, though, we do have Shatter available in Lion soon, and hopefully during a fight we'll start seeing Braun get back, and there we go. So they're ready for it. This is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, you still got the window, which is going to be popped early to try and get that extra chip damage. Reinhardt, something on the wrong side of it isn't going to benefit from the healing, but instantly popping that beat and sending in the Reinhardt. But it's the Brig just getting thrown off the edge. The Baptiste, sorry, getting thrown off the edge. Sato looking to try and find a comfortable spot to position themselves in, but they're caught between the Symmetra and the Reinhardt, and that's not really a position you want to be stuck in. Bron just looking to see if he can maybe get an exit, maybe boot someone off the map, but it isn't going to happen. And finally, the Wolfhounds, after that initial first capture that they got themselves, taking a little bit of time to get re-control of that point, but now they have it. They're looking to try and hold on for it for as long as they possibly can. As Shatter once again in the pocket of Dominus now on this Reinhardt, who'll be looking to try and use that in the fight. Obviously, Leon already back to 50% after using it just the fight prior. Is pretty quick.
Yes, it's looking pretty clean, but there we go. The Shatter's going to go through. It's actually not going to connect to much here, and yeah, no one's really dying. The Symmetra's still setting up, and finally we see the first blood of this team fight. 2 now go down, and there's the boop. There's a clean swing of the hammer, and Dominus on a triple kill to clean it up on site. But unfortunately, Saito just can't do much. This Bastion, I think, is going to have to switch if they want to get on this point again.
Yeah, it's so easy for Pizza Lover on this Junkrat to abuse cover, and that's exactly what we see there. Despite being 1 HP, he's never exposing himself for long enough to actually draw that line of sight, to actually get that hit off. And now, even now, right, just bouncing these grenades round the corner, throwing in the mines to try and finish off these kills. And it's the Junkrat that comes out for Sato. It's not going to live very long as Dominus is just going absolutely ham, just jumping into the corridor. The Riptire coming through, but it's not even needed. Edu, they don't even touch the point. They can't get there in time.
Yeah, that was a very different start than we've normally seen. Usually the team that takes it in the first will be able to get it at least twice, you know, continuing on, or even just take it. But Wolfhounds, great job taking that back. I think what really led to their success there was how they kind of balanced out when they were going to use ultimates. I mean, the first time they re-hit that site, they were walking in with, you know, 2 of the supports in a window plus a beat drop. That means you're practically unkillable, and your damage amplitude is insane. So now, looking at this next map, this shouldn't be as easy. Obviously, I think this one has a much different play style. So let's see how they're going to be able to handle this one.
Well, slightly different lineups here, right? You've got the Pharmacy coming through for the side of the Pit Ponies. And, of course, there's the Doomfist for the Wolfhounds. So you can see if either of these can lead to an initial opening pick for them to change things up. Not really a great sort of answer to this Pharmacy outside of the Ana, but already the Pharah getting quite close to ground, and the Echo going to make meat of it.
Yeah, and they're just going to punch this player off, and Soldier will be able to try to weave their way through and actually gets a kill, but the fist will fly, and Dominus will be able to grab Sato there. Now, I think in this early battle, they're just kind of bullying to see what happens, and I like how aggressive the Lucio is, honestly. It's just so much boot potential on this bridge.
Yeah, and it also really makes life uncomfortable for this Mercy, right? If they drop too low, they're going to get knocked away from their team, a potential for a pick-off, but... well, the Pharah able to get the boot to knock them off the map. Now suddenly has to do a little bit of work on the left-hand flank here to try and see if there's an angle to take down this Pharah in the sky, and getting that beam out is going to be a good answer to it, but not quite enough damage over the top.
Yeah, honestly, we're seeing a lot of damage now coming in through Saito from the sidelines, but are they going to be able to get past this D.Va? Looks like Dominus is getting just all the kills, right, regardless of the D.Va. And swinging in, just going so ham onto this Mercy, but unfortunately the aggro is going to be where they fall. And now we're seeing a big trade up there, a boop actually onto the Mercy as well, so not going to be able to fly back this time. And the reset's truly coming out here, so both teams are just kind of having a, I would say, staggered fight, like consistently staggered. They're not really grouping up for a while,
which is uncharacteristic for the Pit Ponies, right? That's something that I was just sort of I've praised them for in the past, just being able to take a back seat, drop out of it. And I mean, when you get the pick on something like a Dominus, right, like we saw from Noob, you got to go for it. You got to commit to that fight now that the tank is gone and you got your D.Va coming back shortly. But inside of the Wolfhounds, I'd like to see a little bit more discipline coming through, especially with they're going for this dive. You really want maximum efficiency as they seal away the D.Va ult.
Wow, and oh, might be able to find something here. And yeah, there goes the Junkrat. Pizza Lover is down. Lion just, I think, has been coined the MVP tank for a while, but let's see if they're going to be able to get out in time. Yes, they will. D-Mac D.Va swinging forward. The Echo's just cooking up, but so much damage, and a Mercy comes in to save this round. And they still have full control over the point, and they're just ticking away. We are going to be seeing a potential map number 3 here.
I'm a big fan of Control Tower. I'd like to see it. See what cooks up. Dominus changing out, though, going onto the Sigma now. So feeling that the dive not quite been working out for them. I'll have to see what they're going to be able to do here against the Rocket Barrage, ready for Noob as well. The Mercy coming in to try and lend that support, but a direct hit onto Todd's going to force him to have to hit the ground and go running as they're chased down by Leon. Not really much more to say here as it's dropping back away. Point being contested now, but they're basically on overtime.
Yeah, it is now overtime, and now we see a Moira coming through, but the Moira will get killed by a baby D.Va who just pops ultimate to stay alive for a little longer. But I think they did manage to actually flip the site, so it's not map 3 yet. We're still seeing them cook. All we have to see from the Wolfhounds is just hold this down and maybe reverse it.
Soldier out on the cards, but you're obviously waiting for Dominus to not be able to eat it up with his suction, because otherwise, well, you just wasted a whole ultimate. Still Rocket Barrage as well, so both DPS ults going to lead to a very swingy fight, and it's just one swingy fight you need to close out the stage. Whoa, what a direct hit from Noob. That's going to be the opening they were looking for, committing in with a Diva to try and dislodge this Sigma as long as possible, and now the rocket barge is free to come through, quickly dealt with by Pizza Lover, but you lose pod in the process. Pizza Lover not giving up any space, though, putting in a masterclass at locking down the site, 50% now in the hands of the Wolfhounds, and they've sent the fleeting pit ponies just running for life, running back to spawn.
Yeah, this is a big switch up here, and honestly, I think it has to do with the Sigma. Sigma is just a little bit of a better tank compared to what we previously were using with the, with the Doomfist. So with the combination of just a lot of damage they have to deal, they got everything. But now we're seeing ultimates. The Kitsune Rush is going to be coming through. They try to bury it off, and no boops yet, but they are going to demech a Diva, and that's going to stagger this team dramatically as there's only 20 seconds, and they're popping ultimates, flinging them up into the sky, and slamming them back down, leaving not a lot of opportunity to try to re-hit this site. So you better start grouping pit ponies because you got one push left.
Another direct hit coming in from Noob here. But clearly, someone playing a lot of Titanfall back in the day, maybe a bit of Soldier on the TF2. But jumping in for the contest, it's the Doomfist immediately met in the face with a concussive mine as Junkrat jumps to safety, going to pull out the Riptide to try and get those overtime kills, stalling it for as long as possible, jumping it all the way around the back, trying some great dynamics, but misses completely, suddenly still doing the work, gets the Pharaoh of Noob down, so still comfortable control of the point as Sato now has to make a move to get on in as Leon, isolated and alone, is going to die. Equa, nothing to do there, and well, this should be cleaned up. You said we might see that round number 3. We're not. It is, in fact, another 2-0 on Lijiang Tower.
That's crazy. I gotta stop jinxing things, but let's see what the play of the game was, because that was a pretty just constant brawl, so I don't really think we saw many multi-kills, you know? And that's why Symmetra getting play of the game, this is when you're gonna just see a guy running around beaming people. And that's exactly what we're watching, so running around beaming people. But let me ask you this. Which map is better, the day or night version of Lijiang Market?
The night version. It's not even close.
Yeah, it's not even close.
We all know it's the light version. Let's be real. Even if you're thinking day, you're actually thinking night version. It just looks cooler. It's the classic. It's the OG. I will say I do really like they launched it in the first Chinese New Year event, like the Sunset Lijiang that came out.
Oh yeah, where they had the lanterns everywhere. Yeah.
No, that one, that's the real best Lijiang Tower. But the night one is the best of the normal ones. I don't know, I think it's cool they added like the alternative day. I will say Day King's Row just throws me for a loop every time I see it. I still can't get over Day King's Row looks wrong.
Because I think the main reason it looks wrong is because areas that were supposed to be like the flank angles, they use in nighttime King's Row, they're dark alleyways, but in daytime there's no difference, so it feels like it's just a much more open map, even though it's the exact same one. The only difference is lighting. So but talking about maps, next map we got here is going to be a hybrid, I believe. So are we going to King's Row? Is it going to be a day King's Row, or are we seeing something different?
Okay, the only thing I could maybe see is Pit Ponies pulling out Hollywood. I think it'll be one of the two. I'd be very surprised if we see Blizzard World, which is our third of the teams to choose from. So for those of you not aware, you lose a map, you get to pick from a set of 3 on a specific game mode. So Control, first map, has to be Lijiang Tower. Second map, Hybrid, you get to choose. Well, the loser of map 1 chooses. Then the loser of that, map 2, chooses 3, which is an Escort. Then Push, and then finally we go back to Control for either Oasis or I want to say it's what's the other map?
The other Control map. I always conflate them with double CP.
The name of them. What's the name of it?
Isn't it? No, I think it is Nepal.
No, it's not Nepal at the moment. It's
the
other new one. The other newer one, but I can't remember the name of it. It's escaping me now.
I'm googling it.
Yeah, go for it. Is it not Ilios, but the other one? Anyway.
Okay, so it's not Nepal and it's not Ilios.
It's not Nepal. It's not Ilios. It's the other control point map, but I can't think of the name of it. We haven't seen it this season yet. I don't know why I can't think of it though.
Okay, well, let's find out. So on Control, we got Busan, Nepal, Ilios, Lijiang, and then there's also Antarctic Peninsula, but I don't think that's in the game anymore.
I think it's still in the game, but it's not in... Busan's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
great map, Busan. By the way. I really like Busan. I think I prefer it to Oasis. Personally, I think it's just... I don't know, there's something about it. I think it's a bit more fun. But I think all the stages feel a little bit more different as well. I feel like different kind of comps work on different stages, which I think is always really cool. I think that's why one of the reasons why Nepal is so great.
I love Nepal for the boop ability. I mean, Roadhog, Lucio, Roadhog, Lucio, Pharah. You get all the boops you can, and you go to Nepal. It's just so fun. Same with the Ilios. I mean, I think that's what Control really has is those two maps specifically. So much ability to, you know, environmental kills and using your environment as a player is very important. So, you know, looking at this next map though, do we know what the map pick is? Right now, it looks like the map is King's Row. Ooh, yay! Who would have thought? The OG Overwatch map, the one that they used in the PvE trailer. So take that as you will. Rip PvE, but let's see if we're going to see some PvP. It's time to go.
You know what? I'd hope we'd see some PvP. I think it'd be quite a dull 4 minutes of attack if we didn't see any. Right? You just have the teams not just handshaking, standing in a choke behind a Rhine shield for. I mean, there was a time in Overwatch.
You're describing.
Yeah, I was gonna say double shield. Yeah.
Old school pirate ship as well. Oof.
Orisa Sigma, you will not be missed. You will not be missed. Goats will be missed. I miss goats. That's a bit of a hot take, I think, but I miss goats.
Yeah, I just missed having 6 players on your team. I think it just led for a lot more fun combos, and you know, subtracting 1 player in, obviously it changes the power dynamic and how the game works. Like DPS have to do so much more now when you don't have the second tank to, you know, bring that extra damage. Like that's why Roadhog was a character. You know, you have that second tank, you have the ability to just be an extra thick boy DPS man.
I think that's why they kind of struggled since, right? Roadhog hasn't quite found his place yet in Overwatch 2, in any of the metas that we've had so far. Sato on the Hanzo, not the Widowmaker coming out for them here, but immediately just swatted away by the concussion mine coming out from Pizza Lover as Noob on this Reaper once again, trying to contest. The BAP has some issues in the back line as Pizza Lover again just flanking all around, will be chased down by Leon and the and Bron on the Lucio in the end. Just barriers keeping themselves alive on the point as they're trying to take down the lamp before they deal with Dominus.
And yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting now. Sato could be there to clean up, and this Sigma still standing alive. Dominus just needing to just beat them down, but the Zarya is at very high energy, unfortunately, and they got this Reaper on the back line finally just snipes the tiny bit of HP left on Dominus. And yeah, this hybrid map is about to turn into payload here, unless I Am Noob can, you know, get shut down by this Hanzo, but the movement's just diffing them.
Yeah, and also just Baptiste healing numbers are quite high. So trying to get kills with that shotgun in the face of them just being amped up with heals, just pumped up by the little explodey boys is a very difficult one to do. But now they have captured the first point. Dominus moving off of the Sigma onto the Reinhardt, which is interesting to see. And go for it, instead wanting to brawl a little bit more and into a Zarya. Maybe this makes a little bit of sense. Got to be very careful with those fire strikes though. As well, the charge getting completely nullified with an excellently timed shield.
Yeah, great bubble there. I mean, this Zarya is doing wonders right now, and this team, Wolfhounds, they are just kind of pushing in so aggro. You saw how they like to play on Control, but on Hybrid, I think this is their much stronger map. They have full control over everything going on.
Yeah, I mean, the Zarya pick has been absolutely massive from Leon here, right? Just, first of all, high damage, high charge coming through. That's able to get through Dominus. You can't suction that one up, so brilliant way to sort of burst down your tank and get through that immense healing coming in from the Baptiste of Todd. Secondly, again, these barriers, these bubbles, so wellly timed, and now looking towards this grab already, gonna just drop it straight away. You don't have the Hanzo arrow coming through. Yes, you do. The lamp doing a great job to slow down that damage, but eventually shut down, and Equa just jumps up and takes down Pizza Lover. You still got the Death Blossom here for Iron Noob, but I'm sure they'll be saving that for the next fight, unless he spots an angle to go in on 3. But look, Edu, it's our first May of the day.
Oh, I love May. I think May's great. And I'm hoping that they're going to be doing something besides taking bullets from the Hanzo or arrows to the brain there. You know, and I also got to say this. You know, hot take time.
Please.
Overwatch was so much better before Baptiste was added. Hot take.
I feel like the timeline of when Baptiste got added, because I don't know. I don't think like any hero has really like been terrible necessarily. I mean, you could argue Brig, but I'd argue you're wrong. DBX just out DPS's Noob on the Reaper even. Just takes him down the bubble to get out of the Blizzard. So, I mean, suddenly building it up very quickly, not getting a massive amount of value out of it, as the Piponi's already on the disengage. But Pizza Lover, he's off of his Junkrat onto the Hanzo and still slamming heads with these projectiles.
Honestly, you know, you got to shout out a player from being able to switch from completely different aiming schemes. Junkrat and Hanzo could not be farther apart in how they work. So, you know, you got to see it. The guy went from a pretty goated Junkrat and switching over, but oh, Zato taking more damage. Looks like has to now do it. But what is this? I Am Noob just TPs right in and says, "You're in my house now," with a big ultimate, and will be able to just finish off a ton of kills. And that's going to get this cart moved a little bit further.
Still 4 minutes on this timer as well, as the ice block does come out. The wall as well does a good job at stalling, but there you go. There's Bron with the boop to get the kill, and the payload should keep rolling. No, Noob backing out of it, so not wanting to commit to staying on it. It's giving them a little bit of time here for the defensive Wolfhounds to reset up their positions. Hanzo's ult ready as well, but there's nothing to really pair it with. No sort of pairing like a Graviton Surge coming through. Ramatra getting very close to this Hive though, Edu, which could be very scary for anyone who pushes up too aggressively.
Yeah, I mean, very fair about that. But let's see this. Ramatra now just trying to tank as much as they can. Pizza Lover's going to be, again, diffing the Hanzo. Might be able to keep it going, but it's up to Suddenly, who's suddenly in an ice bath, needs to just hold their own, but the payload is moving back. I want to shout out this Mei. After that last team fight with the Reaper ultimate, they just stalled so long that they didn't get any value objective-wise after that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the, again, other sort of really unforgotten parts of Mei, where you just don't value it correctly. And again, you stalled out a minute now because you've been able to get back, have another fight. Oh, Noob gets taken down. That's the classic for the Hanzo. The wall being thrown up to try and divide the team, but Hanzo can just scale over it and drop back away. Ramatra charging them back to the spawn room with a nice place icicle from Suddenly to get that final kill onto Sato as well. And now what you've been looking at is what was a super fast run from the Pit Ponies. They've now lost a minute and a half off of the back of the stall from Suddenly, and now they're looking really struggling to take that position once again. The bubble coming through this time keeps them alive, but Pizza Lover met with heals to sustain through the Reaper.
Yeah, this is looking a little different, but if you're worse for wear, you might have a Graviton Surge to make it work. All you got to do is get around the corner here, and there it is. That's going to grab a big one, but the beat drop comes through, as well as the lamp. No kills get collected, and even a Mei, to stall things right on time, has their ultimate, and instead of using it for the team, decides to just stick it in this corridor. Will get a frozen one, but that's it. So, Dominus, even with the Mei doing those ultimates, is still popping off here, and they have to back it up. Wolfhounds are not able to push through here. Or sorry, Pit Ponies.
They're just sending them back to spawn. I still think it's really funny that the icon for that Ramatra punch is just a flexed arm. I don't know, it seems a little goofy, but it's pretty funny. So I back it. Oh, got the vision.
I just love that Ramatra's lore and why he's the strongest tank. It's just because he really doesn't like people that much.
Yeah, not very friendly. I wouldn't want to be the receiving end of any aggression from a Ramatra on a bad day. Oh, ult coming through from Noob. Does get the kill onto Todd. The lamp already being expended, but DBX and Sato able to put some work in to take him down. Suddenly, keeping Baptiste off of the rest of their squad. Now Junker Queen has to try and find a way to re-engage. Does get one onto the Lucio. Hanzo still rocking around the corner. Pelo does move just a little. Inch by inch, getting it round this corner. Lost so much time out on it. The Snare doing a great job to prevent the high movement that Junkrat usually is well known for. Junkrat, Junker Queen. And a lamp invested as well, just to escort them to safety.
Oh, let's see how safe they are going to be when you have a Hanzo ultimate getting ready to just yeet itself around this corner here. I mean, there is a lot of combo potential, but I also want to see what the ultimates are coming up here with Lion. But what a shot! Grabs I Am Noob, spams down onto one, and there's the ultimate. Everybody's purple, but Braun had fallen off the map, unfortunately. And this could be it. The lamp will save one, but Pizza Lover ain't done. Pizza is cooking in the oven, will get shut down by Sato, but that's another round, and honestly, a great hold. But wait, it's overtime for half a second.
Touch the point, recalled, bounce back in, Dominus kills them, they're back again, Lucio's on the point, Lucio goes down, Doomfist is on the point, they're just taking it in turns to get 1v5, the Kiriko Suzu coming in to keep them alive a little bit longer, but focus down very quickly. Leon eventually falls, and Dominus and Sato fleeing back again. So a nice little attempt there by the Pit Ponies to take them back, but couldn't hold on to the point for long enough. Still a really good run though, right? Still got up to that final point. Still got that first cap incredibly quickly, and point 2 basically had one fight on it, like the entire run of that first stage of the payload moving. That was incredible. Some good takeaways for the Pit Ponies here, and a respectable amount of distance that the Wolfhounds are going to have to try and make up.
Yeah, so now what I'm going to be hopeful in watching is, are we going to get into the same position where it's just one fight away from deciding who's going to be taking map 2 or match 2 here? But with how Kings Row is set up, I don't know how Pit Ponies is going to be rocking their, defense style against Wolfhounds. I think Wolfhounds has a very positive aggression that they can pull out here, but it's really up to how they bring their team composition, because they're on attack right now, and they're going Ramatra, May, Junkrat. I mean, that's not what I would expect from the opening hybrid part.
Yeah, those, I played in year 1. Those are defense heroes. They're not attacking heroes. They're not allowed on the attacking half. That's the rules. You got to play like...
Dem's the rules.
Dem's the rules. Who is it? It's like Soldier, Cassidy. You can play those. You can play Reaper. That's it. That's all you get. Defense gets all the fun ones. Defense got, what? Junkrat, Bastion, Torbjorn. I know I'm saying that wrong. Don't worry. It's part of the joke. Pizza Level already in the back lines, though, looking for that initial kill, but Pit Ponies find 2 quick ones of their own, with Ron and Noob getting on the board, and should be able to swat away the rest of this attack.
There we go. Already swatted away as well. I mean, Pit Ponies, great job in map 2 so far, and I think they should be able to just keep going here. Now, I'm also looking at this Junkrat, who's been super aggro, which is kind of what you want to do on attack, but getting into a side angle here, not really working on the tanks, on the armor, and just kind of going on their own, it allows the Reinhardt to kind of solo the rest of their team.
But the problem is, you get caught off by a Mei wall, there's no retreat, and the rest of the team just has to wait for you to respawn. And the first minute has been very dominant for the side of Pit Ponies, who again are getting great value out of this Mei pick and the walls that it brings with it. The barrier dropped up by the Ramatra to enable them to close the gap, as a wall of their own doesn't quite catch off the Reinhardt, but that doesn't matter. The damage from Ramatra goes through the shields, and that will just cut them all down. Suddenly, with some really nicely placed icicles to just take away the damage backline.
It's a smart play. But let's see this. They are going to grab onto the point, and Dominus done a great job being that front line. Will just punch his way through it yet again. We've seen that as a very common trend for this player. But, of course, with 5 minutes to spare, are they going to get to 45.3 meters on the next round? This is not going to be easy, but with their team composition, honestly, I think they can just reverse engineer the Mei. I mean, Mei counters Mei. It's kind of like a weird game of rock, paper, Mei.
Rock, paper, Mei. You love to see it. It's also one of those fun ones where Reinhardt into anyone other than Reinhardt is always going to be a bit of a rough situation to try and fight through, as the snare slowing them down for the time being. The blizzard thrown out, not quite hitting enough members, does get the freeze onto Dominus, but the lamp immediately thrown out to save him, as again the Earthshatter does come through and eventually saves the Reinhardt's own life as they drag Ramatra into a corner to try and finish him off. But healing coming through from the Baptiste is just massive. You can't take him down, and gets run through instead. Dominus popping the hive to get that extra damage for the team fight, and despite an initial start for Pit Ponies that looked so promising, there was just no way they could close it out. Again, massive heals coming in from Todd to turn that fight around.
Wow. Let's see it now. Obviously, a window available for Equa here should be able to equalize things, but they first have to touch the point, and I don't even know if they're going to have enough time. Looks like they do have a dragon to send it across, and they will be throwing it, but it's just all about Dominus here, completely countering these players out. Ramatra versus Reinhardt, not exactly a fair fight when you can just fist your way through a shield. And this is going to set yourself up for success, and that is point number 2 capped. So we just got 45 meters to go.
And they're 50 seconds quicker at this point than Pit Ponies had been, despite that initial hiccup when trying to capture the first point. So looking very promising for them as jumping up to the high ground to try and contest this D.Va. Leon not fancying the Reinhardt anymore, and I can understand why. Pizza Lover getting hit by those stickies from the Echo, but it doesn't matter in the end. Well, Equa now on the Ana to try and apply those purples onto Ramatra in an attempt to try and burn them away. Tato on the sideline looking to see if he can catch out this Baptiste. That's the high-value pick. Looking for the Lucio instead at the time being, but they're just all brawling out on the point. D.Va's got to live, but it's going to be demeched any time now.
Oh, what a nice shot from Pizza Lover to grab Equa down. And yeah, it looks like Wolfhounds are going to be taking this with less than a meter away, and they just have to get the one and done onto map 2, proving that they are in the lead for a reason. 2-0 at the score line here, Golu, and this is probably where I would expect them to maybe, if you are on the side of Pit Ponies, turn something around here.
Yeah, map 1, not a fluke. Right, the Wolfhounds, they are aggressive, they are fast, but when they get a lead, they're so good at just sort of pressing that advantage further and further, and we saw that in these fights that played out. So good at just having big plays to turn it on its head. Right, Ramatra, caught out in a blizzard, the lamp gets immediately thrown on them to keep them alive through it. Then they get earth-shattered. Again, the heals coming through, keep them alive. They get charged into a corner in isolation, and somehow the heals are like warping time and space to still land at the feet of this Ramatra and keep them alive in the fight. And with all of this being invested into taking down Dominus, he pops the Hive, he goes ham and gets himself a triple kill. And now you think you're sat there as a Pit Pony's been like, guys, we were supposed to win this fight. This was all there set for us. What's going on? How's this turned against us so quickly? And the answer for that is just Wolfhounds just moving together. And there's never a moment where Dominus is left alone, even if he's playing something like the not the Bastion, the Doomfist, right? On Lijiang Tower, we saw it. They're committing to a dive suddenly on the Echo. You have Pizza Lover playing point-blank Junkrat, right? The classic meme of Junkrat's like sitting in the backfield and just spamming round corners. That's not Pizza Lover. Pizza Lover's in your face, landing these like flick concussive blasts to take you down before you really know what he's doing. He's out-sniping Hanzos as Junkrat. I don't know. It's looking a little bit rough so far.
True. And not only that, I mean, Pizza Lover also managed to switch over to a Hanzo and then dominate. I mean, that was some insane gameplay. I will hand it that. So honestly, I think what we're seeing is that these players are flexing on a lot of different aim styles. But one thing I didn't see a lot of was actually hit scan. We saw a soldier in map 1 for like maybe a blink of an eye. But I think if we see some hit scans to try to counter these players like Junkrat, I mean, Widow versus Junkrat, Widow wins with just on the distance game. So I think that would be a nice strategy to see get pulled out here. But as we are going to be moving into our map number 2, let's see what that map is going to be, as I believe we're moving into a escort mission, or I could be crazy. Yeah, escort. So with escort, pretty simple maps. Coliseum, Esperanza. I'm hopeful that we're going to be seeing one of those two to kind of break things through. I don't think Coliseum's on our roster right now, though.
Is it not? I thought there was only 3 push maps.
You're right. I thought it was, you're right.
Or is that map 4? Map 3's escort. So like.
Oh, that's why I can't find it. I was looking at
Junkertown.
So
that's
sorry.
Sorry, keep going. Take it away.
Yeah, no. So looking at how we're going to be doing it, it might be Havana, which is right around, but I think Havana is a decent map. It might be all right to have these players compete on, but really it's up to them. I know your favorite, because we've talked about it before, is going to be the previous one of Esperanza, but we actually haven't gotten to see it yet. But we're actually just going straight in. It is going to be Havana, and yeah, let's
Havana. Sorry. Yeah, we are going to see Havana.
Pop off,
sorry.
man. Pop
off.
I'm
sorry. It just I had to get it out. It was on my, those like, there's just reactionary like things that you just have to say, then you're just like, I feel so bad afterwards. Like, I'm sorry.
Your brain had to do it. It had to
do
it.
I'm sorry to everyone
happened.
who had to catch that. Like, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. But we are going to see another Havana, and we saw this last week. We nearly saw like a full cap come through with Pit Ponies holding back, being held back in spawn, I want to say. So there's definitely some cheese potential here off the rip, but it is going to be Dominus once again on this Ramatra, and I think that's quite a sensible decision coming out. This is often a map where you'll see that Sigma come through, a bit like Circuit Royale, right? It's one of these slightly longer extended ranges where you can use the shields available in both Ramatra and Sigma to cut down things from potential Widowmakers on the longer lines of sight. But for Widow Soldier, and that's a long-ranged sort of comp coming through, and already the attack at your door might cause you some issues.
No, look, we saw this last time, and they spawn camped so hard that they lost. So, I don't know. This is not going to be a very odd playstyle, but I understand it. But it might bite him in the butt. However, they did demech the Diva. They did scare these players back in, and with the no tank, nor the Ana getting spawn killed, there's not much that they can really do here.
Well, just got to change up the composition here. Noob going now onto that Pharah to try and find a way to get outdoors and trying to outrange this combination. In theory, it's a Junkrat and a Mei, so you're pretty safe once you're in the skies. Leon rocking out on the Reinhardt to try and brawl as best as possible, but the Junkrat making short work of the shield as you're walled off from the rest of your team. You should fall pretty swiftly. Equa is going to be the first one to go down, though, so that's the support coming through. Junkrat on the charge, and it's going to take you a lot longer to get back to the fray as the defenders. The lamp gets shut down, and again, the punches coming through the Reinhardt's shield, doing so much work to keep the pit ponies back in the spawn room.
I mean, you got to keep them back, because if you win this game, you win the entire semis here, and then you get to move on to the finals of Season 3. So as things are coming to a head here and coming to a close, we're just going to have to see odd strats like these, and Dominus is kind of getting unpunished for it. Todd, though, very punished, gets wiped by Lion there. And Leon being able to grab that. Dominus doesn't care, just cleaning house. How many kills does this guy have right now? I think every time I look in the kill feed, it's Dominus or a Lucio boop. Nothing in between.
Hasn't gone down yet on this hold, and in part that's due to the mass healing coming through from both the Baptiste and the Ana, just doing a great job of sustaining them. And that's exactly what you need. As I say that, Dominus finally going to go down, and well, now that payload will start to get rolling. Pete Slover, again, flexing out the different picks. It's now on the Torbjorn. So we're going to be showing what the Sentry can do. Obviously, with Saito still on this Soldier, and there are some tools to take down this turret at range. But we'll have to see what they can do to take it away quite early on, as you don't want to give it that free form to just rain that fire down on Noob.
Well, I'm talking about Rain of Fire. They are raining things down. Lots of ultimates. We got a Nano coming through. Will we see a Shatter? Yes, we will. It connects to only one player, though, and they're chasing right now. The Echo chasing this, finally connecting to it, but in the middle, gets scared back. Torbjorn is going to come through to kill a Mei. Amazing job from them. And let's see this now, as they have kind of broken through. And what happens after you lose a spawn camp style play is it's very tough to get back on and, you know, force off the momentum, because look at how close they are already.
Immediately the purple coming through onto Dominus is going to lead to a lot of damage. Swiftly dealt, suddenly able to get a pick onto Saito, though, so that frees up a lot of the damage that would be coming the Reinhardt's direction, as Todd takes down Leon as well. You said it's hard to do, and they barely just did. 2 meters, 74 to go on the push for this first capture point, but they hold tight, and now it's going to start tickling back slowly. 30 seconds, and Pit Pony's yet to capture the first point. I Am Noob now on the Bastion is a very interesting choice to call out at this point. You've got the Railgun Ultimate available for Saito, though, so I'm expecting some big picks to follow swiftly, but there's a Blizzard.
Yeah, big Blizzard here, and might be able to cook up a bit, and they're just going for it. Suddenly, double killing it up on a 2, but that is an ultimate saving them. Grabs Pizza Lover. This Torbjorn's dead, and from the sidelines, we're finally seeing the trades. Good effort. And Frozen, but there it is. We have an overtime, and Wolfhounds decimating, not even letting a first tick get taken.
And this is where things start to get a little bit iffy, right? It's really crunch time for the Pit Ponies. Remember, this is a best of 5, first to 3 series. And with both Lijiang Tower and following Lijiang Tower, King's Row, both going in favor of the Wolfhounds, they are potentially 4 minutes away from securing the grand final spot. You got to be very cautious here now as the Pit Ponies. You have to hold. You can't let them get to the end of this first point. Not even the end of this first point, but effectively it's the full distance of this first point, right? It's just around the corner. I don't know how you're going to do this. You can't risk going to a spawn door, because if you get caught off early, there's so much time for Wolfhounds to push far. But if you give them too much space early, you're one fight away from losing. It's kind of like Sophie's Choice Overwatch Edition, to be honest.
Yeah, it's looking rough. I mean, when you're down 2 rounds here, there's not a lot of options you have besides try your best. And look at the best that they're bringing. They're going for the Pharmacy, the Diva, the Ashe of all things. I think Ashe might be the pick here, but that is, of course, if they're facing off against a Pharah, but they're not. They're facing off against a Widow. And when it comes to a range battle, Ashe versus Widow, Widowmaker takes that. And you also have a Zenyatta who can snipe as well. And talking about snipers, you kind of talk about Ana. So, you know, I don't know. We're going to have to see how they can hold their own. But Diva's not the brawl aggressor, but this Pharah sure is doing a lot of damage early on.
It's also very hard to draw that line of sight onto the Pharah without fully walking out and turning your back to the rest of your opponents. And when you've got someone like the Ashe who's able to lay down that long-range fire support, it becomes a very risky thing to try and do. Sliding over these rooftops is able to get the pick onto DBX and that Zenyatta, looking for the second as well, but they narrowly escape with 1 HP. Still, though, again, there's no way to draw this line of sight onto Noob, so great job so far. Pizza Lover is on that doorway, so be careful, Pharah. But so far, we're seeing this hesitation coming in from Wolfhounds. They're just trying to take a little bit of a second to figure out what their composition's going to be, and the Reinhardt gets locked in.
Yeah, I mean, I think Reinhardt's very smart here to get these teams across. The Echo going for an aerial duel is going to try their best to do some damage. Pizza Lover's doing great. And this flank, I mean, it's the smart play. You get behind them, now you have the high ground, and we've all seen the prequel, so we know what's going on there. First blood as Todd grabs Sato, and that's going to force these players all the way back. But the objective is being heavily defended by a fierce Pharmacy.
Shots coming down now onto Todd to try and make up for the numbers, but with Ron falling, as is Equa, this Pharah is not long for the world, and eventually they do fall. A great rotation coming through. It's now a question, I was about to say, how long can Leon stall? In Baby Diva form, not very long, unfortunately. And now the payload is going to get rolling. They only lost Todd for that as well, so now they can start to walk forwards and get this advanced positioning. Can't quite land the shots to finish off Pizza Lover, who's able to be healed up by the squad back at the payload. Now you're waiting to see who walks around the corner first. It's once again going to be the Echo sending in the stickies, but you can't quite finish it off. Diva taking the high ground to try and reassert their positioning. The rocket barrage is going to have to be massive here to come in from Noob if they want to take back the point.
Yeah, and this is looking clean, but I Am Noob has the ultimate available. He's going to unload onto 2, grabbing Todd and, of course, the lamp, but that's just going to take down 1. With 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining, they have to get around this corner. They only have like 30-ish meters to end this entire matchup here. But how are they going to do it? Defense working, or sorry, Wolfhounds working around for some level of contention. Just swinging in very harsh with it. And I love that the Symmetra TPs him right on, but the bomb is popped here. Golu, this is not looking great.
No, another near full hold so far as, again, just swinging it around. Dominus is standing on the point, does get the Earth Shatter onto Sato and secures the kill, importantly, as well, as now charging into the fray to try and take down Leon. You get rid of that tank, you free up a lot of space, but the bomb coming through and trying to work through the shield of the Reinhardt, it's not going to be enough and will go down before they can remech. So they're lost. I Am Noob now with no support does go down. Equa short to follow, but trades out with Pizza Lover at the same time, and the payload will roll over the ending. There's nothing that poor Sato can do to get back on. Wolfhounds, they're going to be our first team in the grand finals.
Wow, Season 3 really heated up there. I think Pit Ponies had a chance in the Mappa Kings row, but this proves that we have seen a team that knows how to rock it. And the Baptiste Todd, this guy's been not only getting great lamps down, but also just fragging out, being able to work with their team and just keep it going. I mean, beautiful jobs no matter what. The aim's insane. And I'm glad that we're going to be casting them in a few minutes here as the grand finals is starting soon.
Yeah, it will be shortly tonight. We're waiting to see if the other game has also ended or if we're still waiting on the Artists and the Pirates to brawl that one out. Again, the Artists in our other semi-final are our champions from both Season 1 and Season 2, so you'd be expecting them to make it back once again. The top team from Group B, obviously undefeated as well. But you never quite know how it's panning out, right? In theory, coming into this, Wolfhounds were the team that was supposed to be on the back foot, and they made very, very short work of the Pit Ponies. Tremendous stuff coming in for them on their inaugural season in the Welsh Esports League Overwatch. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of them later on today. Can they be the first team to dismount the Artists?
Well, that's a good question posed here. But before we go into break, I do want to say shout out to the Pit Ponies. You guys got into the playoffs. You got past the group stage. You played well. And, you know, shout out to them for still being able to put up a good fight against the Wolfhounds today. But with the Wolfhounds now moving forward, it's up against the Artists here, maybe. So we will send it to a short break and be right back. So stick around.
Behind the bar, nothing to do, ain't nothing to see. I just want some action for no fee. I see your random beautiful face. I fell in love from afar, just like a scene from a Shakespeare play. But I had no idea what to say. What's your name, girl? Sure I wasn't your number one. Hey, what's your name, girl? Couldn't believe what I could see. What's your name, girl? I wanted you all for me. Couldn't believe what I could see. So I offered her a drink for free. But what do you know, my luck was in. I got ready for a night of sin. We drank another shot or three. Played one for you, two for me. I got so drunk from the game that I completely forgot her name. The best of fun. What's your name, girl? Sure I wasn't your number one. Hey, what's your name, girl? Couldn't believe what I could see. What's your name, girl? I wanted you all for me. Hours later, sun wakes me up. I roll over to see an empty cup, and all that's left is a hasty note and this is all she wrote. Thank you for that drink for free, but you were way too drunk to get up for me. I hope this fills you up with shame, and I know you'll never remember my name. What's your name? What was your name? What was your name? Hey, what's your name, girl? I think you might have been good fun. What's your name, girl? I wasn't close to your number one. Hey, what's your name, girl? Couldn't remember what I did see. What's your name, girl? I guess you weren't the one for me. Hey, what's your name, girl? What's your name, girl? Hey, what's your name, girl? What's your name, girl? Wow! Hey, bartender, slide over a shot. Tequila, rum, or whiskey, whatever you got. Hey, pretty lady, where you going so fast? You better understand this night's gonna last. Tell you what, we got a party tonight. Oh, Bill's on piano, John's ready to fight. But if this night starts to go downhill, I'll take out my slug, I ain't afraid to kill. It's midnight, at the saloon. There's liquor, guns, and girls who bark at the moon. I said it's midnight, at the saloon. You better stick around, we're going nowhere soon. Chatting up girls, the saloon door swings. Rifles on their back, strutting in like kings. Mills and Co, the wildest of the West, till Lil Luke comes to do what he does best. It's midnight, at the saloon. There's liquor, guns, and girls who bark at the moon. I said it's midnight, at the saloon. You better stick around, we're going nowhere soon. The scars on his face, a gun in his hand. Well, girls, you best believe this guy's a one-man band. O ddydd i ddydd rwy'n teimlo'n hun yn drysu am beth ti'n meddwl amdana i. A'r unig beth sy'n dod yn amlwg, ti mond yn hoffi fy sylw i. Gweithaf ymdrechion, gweithaf yng ngorau glas. Just ro fi ryw fath o syniad, does dim angen fy mod gas. Dwi ond yn gofyn os allet ti ystyried a yw'r cariad hwn yn ymodol. Mae rhaid i mi wybod yn nawr oes gennym ni dyfodol. Wyt ti'n ymddwyn fel hyn a phawb? Wel allai gymryd fy nghalon yn ôl. Mae rhaid i mi symud ymlaen ac edrych i'r dyfodol. Yn ara deg mae'r misoedd yn mynd heibio. Mae dy lais wedi gadael fy mhen. Dwi llenwi'r gwagled y gormod o gwrw. Mae'r gwrthwynebiad yn dod i ben. Gweithaf ymdrechion, gweithaf yng ngorau glas. Allai dod draw i weld ti heno. Dwi'n ysu am y rhyw fath o flas. Dwi ond yn gofyn os allet ti ystyried a yw'r cariad hwn yn ymodol. Mae rhaid i mi wybod yn nawr oes gennym ni dyfodol. Wyt ti'n ymddwyn fel hyn a phawb? Wel allai gymryd fy nghalon yn ôl. Mae rhaid i mi symud ymlaen ac edrych i'r dyfodol. Dwi ond yn gofyn os allet ti ystyried a yw'r cariad hwn yn ymodol. Mae rhaid i mi wybod yn nawr oes gennym ni dyfodol. Wyt ti'n ymddwyn fel hyn a phawb? Wel allai gymryd fy nghalon yn ôl. Mae rhaid i mi symud ymlaen ac edrych i'r dyfodol. Quiet night at a random place. There's a human fish behind the bar. Nothing to do, ain't nothing to see. I just want some action for no fee. I see a random beautiful scene from a Shakespeare play, and I had no idea what to say. And I said, hey, what's your name, girl? 'Cause you seem like the best of fun. What's your name, girl? Sure I wasn't your number one. Hey, what's your name, girl? Couldn't believe what I could see. What's your name, girl? I wanted you all for me. Couldn't believe what I could see. So I offered her a drink for free. But what do you know, my luck was in. I got ready for a night of sin. We drank another shot or three. Played one for you, two for me. I got so drunk from the game that I completely forgot her name. And I said, hey, what's your name, girl? 'Cause you seem like the best of fun. What's your name, girl? Sure I wasn't your number one. Hey, what's your name, girl? Couldn't believe what I could see. What's your name, girl? I wanted you all for me. Hours later, sun wakes me up. I roll over to see an empty cup, and all that's left is a hasty note, and this is all she wrote. Thank you for that drink for free.
We're finally at the grand finals, and after a fairly one-sided semi-final, it turns out that Group B was the group you really wanted to be in. That was the top of the competitive scene here for the Welsh Esports League Overwatch Season 3, our grand finals. It's going to be returning Season 1, Season 2, potential Season 3 champions in the Artists, taking on the newcomers, the young, usurping force of the Wolfhounds. But, Edu, we are not quite there yet. We're just waiting on the teams to be ready. What's your instant thought coming into this? The last matchup, new versus old?
Well, this new team dominated the Pit Ponies, who were a very big player in Season 2, which is where the artists are coming with their champion belt from. So I would say that even though they are newcomers in the Welsh esports scene, obviously they play like they've been playing Overwatch since 2016. They have a lot of experience under their belt in the way that they play, team build, and have some pretty wacky strats to make it work. I think that the Wolfhounds are, in my opinion, the favored people going into this against the reigning champions. Obviously, last time I saw the artists play, they won a championship. So, I'm thinking that they're going to be also able to put up a decent fight. So, at most, we are not seeing your standard Welsh Esports League 3-0. I think we're definitely seeing a full 5 best of 5 here.
With some Esperanza in the mix. I mean, I think it will be interesting to see, right? Because we haven't seen artists on stream all season. I say all season, 3 weeks. But we haven't seen them on stream yet. And that is interesting because it's a team that we sort of expected to have sort of making an appearance. But it's because a lot of their games have been quite dominant. And coming from the same group. These two teams have played each other, with the win coming out in favor of the Artists. So it's one of these things, it's very difficult to try and give them that backing behind it. And the last time they played, it was a 3-0 as well. So it is gonna be an uphill battle for them to try and get that revenge. The Artists, some names you'll remember, Sunder, of course, being a mainstay since Season 1, but an upgraded Artist roster as well, so in theory, even more scary than the last times we've seen them out in the count. And, well, what they're going to do here at the start, Dominus showing that flexibility once again with an Orisa pick for the start of the game.
Yeah, quick with it, and looks like they're just going right on through. I love the Symmetra turrets. It is zoning quite well and forcing them to walk right into Pizza Lover, who's just cooking right here. The Wolfhounds doing exactly what they did to Pit Ponies, proving that, unfortunately, the big dogs in the Welsh Esports League might be, you know, just put to leash here. We see a complete shift in how much power the Artists have.
And Control Tower coming out as well has a lot more of these chokes, which is why you're seeing this dominance of the Junkrat. Sonder not able to get into a position where they can set up because of the trips that are coming through, as well as just how much bombardment is being dealt by the Junkrat. The teleporter to try and get up close is immediately dealt with. They're able to retreat back pretty swiftly, and Sonder goes down. They left their Bastion exposed. The Reinhardt short to meet it as well.
Ooh, lots of damage. I mean, come on, Dominus. You can't just be killing everybody on either Ramantra or on Orisa. I mean, if there's an Omnic tank, Dominus is on him, and that's what we're seeing. So let's see if they're going to be just taking this game one pretty quick. They have had so much success in today's matches just by holding W and just rocking it. So how are they going to do it again? We got a Riptire coming right on through, scaring a lot of these defenders, and we're going all the way around, but do they have enough time? Yeah, right out the swoosh.
And you're seeing just this massive difference in compositions working out so beneficially for the side of the Wolfhounds. You can't play Reinhardt into Orisa. Everyone knows the rule. When they pick Orisa, you swap off Reinhardt. And it's because you can see him getting juggled around. He is literally able to get nothing done. Sonder finally comes through and is able to clean up with a quick triple to make it a quick cap for them. That's all off the back of just being able to sentry up, right? They tried to engage you in a corner, you pop the lamp on it. Velvet doing a great job to pop the window as well to get enough heals onto the Bastion, and they are able to finally cap that point. We are, what, nearly halfway capped for the Wolfhounds, or over halfway capped, and we haven't even seen our first Reinhardt Shatter be built up yet.
Yeah, there's a big difference in how these teams are just doing damage to benefit their, you know, ultimate economy. And I think it really just comes down to the fact that it's a lot of pit damage. That's what we see. They're chipping away constantly, and that's what happens when you have this team. But look at this, beat drop available to try to get them right through. They are using the wall as well. Lots of ultimates are available, and they have managed to keep this site a little longer. But with 68%, they might just keep that record here. But wait a minute, all of the comebacks, and yeah, we might have seen a shatter, but it's still doing so much to just have it as a threat, and you can see it in the placements of these positions.
Yeah, they are really making sure that they are sort of ready for it when that Earthshatter does eventually get popped out. And so by effectively not having had it the entire time, it's caused some questions for them, which is why they're forced to use the Symmetra to teleport around the sidelines. But it does give a big opening here to Pizza Lover. If he can get into a position on the sides, try and catch this Bastion unaware, but they're being patient. They're not overcommitting to anything. They teleport up to gather that information for the Reinhardt, but will eventually just drop on down. Again, still that Shatter to be careful of.
And maybe keeping this shatter could just win them the round. The Artists have definitely set themselves up for success yet again, kind of forcing themselves back in that, you know, maybe they learned a lesson from that first push, being like, wait a minute, these guys we just can't walk over like we have for everybody else. And this time they're playing a lot more cautiously. They haven't used a lot of ultimates. They've saved them for only perfect timings, and looks like with the Bastion, it's just looking a little rough. I mean, there's not a lot they can do, and there's the shatter, timing it after that to make sure that they get it. And that's actually probably going to be the round here, unless we could see some trickle effects moving forward.
Yeah, with Sonder untouched, able to clean up house. The round looking very comfortable now, which should be taken. Eventually, Sonder taken down with the Riptire, but of course, if you're on a Riptire, you're not running back to contest that point. It will fall in favor of the Artists as they take stage number 1 here on Lijiang Tower. and put themselves in the lead. The first time the Wolfhounds have lost the Lijiang point tonight. They 2-0'd the Pit Ponies here earlier, but of course we never saw them play control, so maybe that's the weak spot in an otherwise flawless map. But Night Market going to be the next call, and I have to say, I was expecting the Reinhardt to be brought off of after we saw this continue Orisa from Dominus. But they stuck to their guns. They kept it for the game plan of when we get Sonder in position, when we get that control, it will become nigh impossible for the Wolfhounds to be able to break it. And that's exactly what we saw. And they wasted so much time looking for a way to get past the Reinhardt that just never opened up. Isaka doing a brilliant job to just make sure they follow their purpose in that composition.
Yeah, and they kind of play with a lot of purpose. They are now purposely launching themselves in. The Hammond just getting mowed down. The largest aim labs tracking ball you can hit right there, and will be able to get the pick. I mean, this Bastion is going unpunished, and that's one I'm thinking we might be seeing some switches. And yeah, we did. The Sombra could be a huge turnabout here for this team if they just work it out. But as the Wolfhounds are not able to touch the points, the Artists are really just leading with success right now.
Well, still prying for that opening pick, and they're able to get it. As again, this Reinhardt now having to do a little bit of the heavy lifting, but so much work from the Echo, and Pizza Lover able to get the hack. It's not going to mean too much, but it is going to mean the kill. The hammer, obviously, you can still run it around. But still a very comfy now win out for the Wolfhounds, who are able to get themselves some control of that point.
Yeah, Wolfhounds, they've kind of set themselves up to try to get on there at the very last thing we saw. But so far, what you've seen here is a little bit of a back and forth. But as we look in, Golu, what do you feel about this? Oh, hi. What do you feel about this motion that we've been watching from these players?
I mean, so far it's been pretty clean from the Wolfhounds on that second take of things, but I mean, the Artists, again, just such an elite squad coming back on through and playing to this win condition of Sonder. And we've seen a couple, you know... Oh no, the Kiriko teleporting in has given away the position of Pizza Lover. It's now going to be hunted down. And we've talked about this so many times, this trickle effect that we can see happen with teams. Wolf have to be very careful to get caught up in it here. And thankfully for them, Todd's going to keep themselves alive with the Hammond dropping down the minefield, but it's not going to net themselves any kills just yet, as Sonder and Sivart both getting on the table, taking down, well, the Kiriko and the Sombra. The Sombra picked back up by DBX on this Mercy, as suddenly now have to try and hide away from that line of sight, but with the kills all coming over in their favor, a lot of work being done by the Sombra in that last engagement, they are able to get themselves control of the point once again. So far, though, still this amazing job being put into keeping Sonder alive and really sort of enabling him to do so much damage onto the Dominus, who's been running on in, catching them off. And that's what's leading to a lot of these fights, starting with an opening pick for them, as trying to teleport in, but the EMP is preventing any movement.
Yeah, I mean, Sombra doing a great job to get him back on here, but this is where we're seeing the Hammond kind of falter yet again. I think it's a little bit of a tank diff that we've seen, or at least have been able to. It's just so much tracking. The amount of damage that can be dealt to this ball is massive. Case in point, bye-bye. And now we're looking at a tied round here, just barely going over to the Artists as they switch over the points. But Golu.
Yeah, go for
Sorry.
it.
Golu, I was going to say, right now we do have another ultimate to try to penetrate through, but it's just going to be the orbital strike to really just set things up here for them. So let me ask you this question. Do you think they are going to be able to touch the side again? Or take it this side again?
I really can't say. With Echo already losing the ult, I'm going to have to say no. The massive three-man shatter comes through from Isaka as well. They're just looking to try and clean up this point. 90%, you lost X. You popped the Echo ult as well to try and get a Reinhardt of your... Oh, sorry, a Bastion of your own, which could have been massive for them. Dominus touching the point to try and stimulate this overtime, try and get it ticking, but will be charged down immediately before they can reset it. Suddenly in time to reset the timer once more, but not going to have to walk back on in, as this trickle effect is going to come through from the side of the Wolfhounds. But ultimately it isn't going to matter, and it looks like they are not going to be able to cap it once more, as the Artists, well, they'll take Lijiang Tower in 2-0 fashion. It started off slow for them, but once they got that control, once they figured out what they needed to do, they adjusted so well to meet everything that Wolfhounds were throwing at them.
Yeah, and honestly, Sonder getting match MVP back in the day, Overwatch 1, Bastion did this a lot, but this is Sonder in Overwatch 2, and it's just tracking. The way that their Baptiste just set up a wall just for them to just mow them is perfect synergy. They even put a lamp down just in case, but dude's tracking was insane, able to just shred with the Bastion. Never really needed to switch and didn't. So if it works, don't fix it. So now we're going into map number 2. Let me ask you this question because I'm honestly unsure. Golo, because we're in the finals of an Overwatch, is this still a best of 5?
It is.
Okay.
It's still the best of 5, so it's the same progression that we're used to. We all know and love it. It's going to go control. That's our Lijiang tower that we start off on, as per usual all season long. Then we're going to have our wonderful choice of hybrids. Now, we sort of joke that we always get King's Row. I think Wolfhounds, a team that does like their Hollywoods. They do like maps that give them the opportunity to pull out some unique picks. The high ground on stage 2 definitely sort of gives some windows of opportunity to a potential Doomfist angle that we can see. Pizza Lover obviously likes to get up on that high ground. Junkrat, you can drop those bombs on from below or contest up to the high ground. So I think that is, if I had to make a prediction, if I was forced to do it, would be my guess is what we're seeing. But we're not seeing King's Row. We're not seeing Hollywood. We're seeing our third of 3 options, Paricio.
So we're going to Brazil now. All right. A little bit of a global effect here. So it looks like they are going to be jumping in. So let's go to Paricio to really have some fun. This is not going to be an easy round for either team, as this is one of the maps that was released with Overwatch 2. So if you've been a long-standing player, this is one of the maps that you might have the least amount of experience with. But the game's been out for about almost 2 years now. So let's see how it's going to be duking it out here, as we're going to be following for another hybrid. But what is this team comp yet again? Dominus still on the wrecking ball. I'm kind of questioning that.
It's interesting. I think the hardest part with attacking onto Paricio is just trying to get past this first bridge. If you can get onto that point and have an angle to force someone from the Artist to come down and contest the point, it's probably going to be a Saka. But that's okay when you're looking at this composition still built around Sonder on the Bastion. The main issue is it's going to be very easy for this Bastion to pick off Pizza Lover and DBX. You're going to have a lot of work required from Suddenly and Dominus to get on top of Sonder if you want to sort of free up that space for Pharah to reign dominant from above, as it's the only pick on the side of the Artist that can actually deal with it at all. The boot coming in to try and knock them off the high ground, but it's not enough already. Just toying with touching this back point, but again, you see the rotation immediately come through from the Artists.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going through quite efficiently, and what a TP. Dodging with that. Might be able to do it again, but look at, of course, we have the Wrecking Ball trying to just be the rat in the machine. Not exactly a hamster with this gameplay, but they might be able to get a proper amount of space made by just kind of splitting the attention here, and that also works with Suddenly. So their entire team is just drawing attention away from point, but you just got pinned as Pharah, and Isaka is going to be celebrating that one. Defense is happy, and oh my god, they even shut down the Tracer with a insane Symmetra play. So Artists, I mean, what we're looking at is beautiful.
Yeah, the rotation's very clean. Then you pair the fact that a team that already rotates well is adding the Symmetra teleporters for that extra bit of spice. I mean, that's how Osaka's able to get that pin, right? They're just not expecting Reinhardt to be in the building up by the bridge. And now, again, you're seeing them do so much work to keep Sonder away from the line of sight of this Pharah, so they can't abuse the range advantage. They're forced into close engagements, and you see Dominus just get melted as a result of it. The Sentry now freed up to move onto the high ground. Another great teleporter coming through, which is locked inside of the Wolfhounds into this building. There's nowhere for them to run. Just expert understanding of all the space given to them, and Artists turning this map into their playground.
Yeah, I mean, this is their canvas right now, and the Artists, they paint, and they're painting blood on the walls with how much they're massacring. Finally, Dominus switches off of the Hammond and goes onto Orisa. A massive difference in how these tanks play out, but let's see if they're going to be able to work it out, as we have an ultimate from Sonder going straight on, and it is going to rain havoc in the back line, but everybody just kind of did a standstill there. It was like the actual bombs were being dropped, and these guys had to duck and cover under their desk.
Pulse Bomb available, but you got to try and get DBX's lamp out the way first. Or not DBX's lamp, sorry, Velvet's lamp out. The stick comes through, but doesn't net themselves a kill, as, well, the lamp does go down instead. And now they're just backing up. Pizza Lover on a Bastion of their own, looking to see what the angle is here, but has to try and wait out the Symmetra ultimate, as it's just divided at this point in two. Not really much progress going to be able to come through from there. Sonder just sort of lurking underneath for the time being, and again, trying to limit the long lines of sight, force you onto a point where they can drop into that sentry and melt you down most efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty smart, but it looks like we do have Kitsune rush to try to get him on here, and it's just forced all the way back. They kind of 1v1 Bastion versus the tank. It actually takes it down. What a team kill. Dominus, thank you for switching. It works a lot better, and that might be why they get onto the actual part of the map, the payload section.
Yeah, again, it's just understanding the win con for each team respectively. For Bastion, it was limiting the long lines of sight, so you hide yourself away from the Symmetra, from the Pharah, so you limit the options for the Wrecking Ball. And, I mean, now that the Orisa isn't there for the new win condition of shutting you down, you can retake that point pretty quickly. And despite the fact that they just opened it up, they have not moved it around that initial corner. This is basically where you get for free. It drops it in that doorway for free, so they just haven't touched the point.
Yeah, and oh, Pizza Lover will grab Swoosh early, though, but they're getting so aggressive on this defense to force these players back. Suddenly, need to go for just their own pockets, but Velvet falls, and that's a big player. If you don't have the Baptiste, you don't have the lamp. If you don't have the lamp, you don't have the round, and Isaka, last player standing to try to contest this, is doing a decent job to scare these players back, but at the end of the day, that choke point is going over to the Wolfhounds.
You got to be very cautious. This is probably the hardest part of the push to complete, and it's where you'll see most teams finish this map, is somewhere underneath that bridge or on the corner just by Orisa now. And it's because of how difficult it is to dislodge the defense once they get set up and have control of that point. So making sure Sonder doesn't get comfortable is going to be of paramount importance, but with DBX going down early, that might become more and more likely. Suddenly able to use the Pulse Bomb to take down Swoosh, and, well, the Reinhardt getting juggled around in between the Orisa and the Bastion respectively, as they may be able to get that kill. Now looking to try and take down Sonder, as the Spear Spin being saved just for that moment. Dominus, perfect understanding of exactly what their job in this composition is as they blitz through stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, it was fast here, but with a combination of hammer plus a triple on the lamp, on the Kiriko, on Pizza Lover, on everyone, they're now down, and they are cooking up some more. And yeah, you called it, but maybe a bit too early. They have still managed to kick them off.
I would formally like to send an apology to the artists for thinking that they weren't going to get back in time. I misread the situation. I hope we can still be friends, because that was incredible coming back. The combination of ultimates, like I highlighted, just does so much work. And now, well, they can start to take this high ground again. The Orisa, again, just showing this dominance over the Reinhardt, and why the pick always comes through. The window deployed. No one will peek it. So, achieving very little so far.
Yeah, not a lot that they can do, and it looks like they're not going to be able to do much at all. So far, so good. Todd now trying to hold that back, but it's just a big scare coming through. And this is the Kitsune rush. This is the same utility they used last time to actually get them on the point in the first place, and it's not working this time. Pizza Lover's down. Dominus is down. Everybody is going to have to just meet back at spawn and think of a new plan, as they have 12 seconds to get onto the site.
Oh, they found DBX. There is still the Tracer able to move back in for a contest. Going to take some shots just to let them know that they're lurking around in this position. Has a Pulse Bomb to throw out. Has to recall to not die, but should be able to get back swiftly. The artillery strikes coming through, but the lamp keeping everyone alive, as this Tracer on 1 HP will finally be dealt with. No one able to get back to the point in time, so it will be a contest. It will be stopped just under the bridge. So, classic Parasio. I wouldn't have expected anything different, really, but again, you can't be using utility like Windows, stationary utility, in a position where they can just disengage and it does nothing. Because
Yeah,
it's not even
if you walk
disengaging
around.
to buy space, right? It's not like they're dropping it down, they're forcing you to wait for the 6-second duration of the window while they get free progress. It's you are hiding in line of sight, doing exactly what you want to be doing, which is just not letting them move the payload. So, unfortunate there from the Wolfhounds, but once they got stopped, they couldn't remount, and that's sort of been the running trend for the artists on their defensive end of things, is when they get control, you do not get it back.
Yeah, and I'm honestly surprised that Dominus didn't lock in a Sigma there. Sigma, in my opinion, is one of the strongest tanks on any payload map. The ability to just lift people off of it to guarantee that you get control over it again is massive. So, not having that, instead going for just a pseudo push off with the spinny spear, but it's unique. And then you look over at the artists, who I don't think have changed a thing except for Savart here.
Yeah, and again, the thing with this Orisa is it's sort of the best tank counter to the Bastion. And when you know Sonder's just know Sonder's going to be running it out again, you have to have a plan for it, and the plan is shield spin, run at the Bastion. That is your game plan for it. It's your only answer that you can really rely on, and with the Widowmaker going up for the pick, unfortunately missing the shot onto Suddenly, who now has to be a little bit more cautious. But DBX on the Zenyatta is an interesting pick to come through as well.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. There we go. We'll be able to just TP right behind the Bastion and get the Bastion high ground for your own right. Sonder is definitely happy that they're comboing well with this, and I'm liking the fact that they just went for the Widow for the insta-peek and then very quickly switched it off. So smart play style, very quick switches, and they have full control over this. They've kind of just walked it back and forth and just moved these players around. Artists, they know exactly how to take it.
Yeah, they're going to wait to heal up a little bit before they re-expose themselves. Maybe wait for the teleporter to come back off cooldown, as Sonder, now back alive, is going to run to rejoin the rest of the team. Does buy the time for Suddenly to re-emerge as well. So it's going to be back to a 5 versus 5 rule out now, as they're going to just... They'll give themselves a little boost up over the top, from the Dynamite, but no one there to be on the receiving end of it. As the teleporter comes through, and again, Dominus doing a great job just standing on it to deny any rotation power.
Yeah, clean with it. Swoosh dying is massive here, though. That's going to slow down retakes and rotates. And defense pretty happy that they've managed to get themselves, on the high ground yet again. And managed to actually scare away the Artists in the first place. I thought the Artists were at least going to get one tick. So, wait, Artists, same strat, same play to get right behind them yet again.
Going up the staircase this time. Still lots of opportunity for the Orisa, but they've had to back away to contest the points. They're not here in time, and Pizza Lover falls as a result. They just didn't get the pocket to come through in time. The window deployed for Sonder is able to melt through the rest of the team, and Dominus finally going to go down to the sticky nade. Dropped in the doorway, and a much quicker sort of take for the Artist. Gives themselves a lot more time to play with now for their second stage, the hardest stage. I'll throw the reminder out again. What do they go for now? Well, you got to try and take that space early, get a generous amount of free movement from the payload as it rolls up to this doorway. So it's something you can make advantage of, just situate yourself early. But because of the way the Wolfhounds died, they are already up on this high ground. Sivart and the use of this teleporter so far leads me to believe there's not going to be as much difficulty as you'd normally expect a team to challenge in taking away this high ground from their opponents.
Yeah, and right now they're just kind of taking it back there. Look at this. They're going for it. Blue Artists, they want to get up close and personal, and with an ultimate like that, it just scares them completely out of these apartments and allows for one player to just stick on the cart. And there's the counter ultimate, and it will land on Saunders. Sonder got a little bit of his own medicine there. Ultimate's coming through, though, might be able to scare him back, but a Bob goes right past the wall and is ready to just shred, but they have to bail. Defense, great retake.
Dominus now just making his way back up to the high ground, because again, that's all you need to do. You wait on the high ground, you force the commit to come through for the Artists, and then you can drop down and use the height advantage that you have. You can abuse the fact that Pizza Lover with that sentry is going to be to melt through that Reinhardt shield to open up the longer lines of sight for Suddenly, who's positioned themselves quite far back on top of the tropical bar. Now, waiting for the re-emergence once again, already the early damage, but making sure they save that sentry so carefully for when Pizza Lover needs that maximum damage boost.
There we go. Now TP's up, TP's in, and keeps going. Nice. This Ryan is so clean, but won't be able to get away empty-handed that time. And yeah, big picks there from Pizza Lover from above. The high ground plus the window. It's just so strong and wide. This second point is one of the hardest to take.
And you can see, right, this payload hardly moving because the artists, they recognize the fact that you can't just sit on the payload because Pizza Lover will rain fire on you from below. Dominus will rain that fire down as well with their gun of their own. You just can't afford to do it, so you have to go and contest. You have to try and find a way to break that opening pick, and despite the fact they get suddenly, that window does so much damage, just boosting Bastion as much as possible. The Sentry being invested early now. This is a big opportunity for the artists to take the space themselves.
Yeah, and they're going for a big pin right into an ultimate, though. Sonder is dead yet again. A little bit of a Bastion difference here. And is Pizza going to fall this time? No! The Orisa tanks the boop! Tanks everything! What a save. I mean, that is great positioning from your tank to save your Bastion. So, Golu, I think we might be seeing them take this map, unless maybe we see some ultimates start popping, but Sonder just very early, man. Very early.
The craziest thing for me as well is the management of these ultimates. Saved by the lamp has to be invested now. That does open up a 15-second window if they want to make a play, but you're already seeing Todd once again. He used it not the last fight, but the fight before that, and already the window available to be used in tandem with Pizza Lover's Sentry form. Just whittling away this shield above to make life as easy as possible. Sivart somehow able to out-snipe the Ashe is obviously a great start for them as they teleport to the opposite high ground to try and give the opportunity to fight back. DBX the next to fall, so a massive opportunity for them now as they get in close range with Dominus, who falls shortly after as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty clean. They're able to really work their way through, but that is the ultimates that need to just scare these players off of that high ground. And wait a minute, getting this aggressive can either make or break the game. With 25 seconds on the clock, if you lose your tank, you lose the game. And oh no, they did lose their tank, but they still have a Symmetra, walls it off, and with 2 meters to spare, it's just about the DPS doing their jobs. And unfortunately, they're doing everything right. They're cooking, and they are killing, and they are taking map number 2 dramatically. Great job from the artists.
And this is why having a big time back, being efficient on the easiest stages of maps is critical, especially in sort of big coordinated competitions, especially at this level, right? Is what was the biggest difference for them? Well, 3-4 pushes, all swatted away by Pizza Lover on this Bastion. But it only takes one attack where you dislodge them, where you get that break, that fortunate chance to take the win yourself. And you have to be ready to jump on that opportunity. You want to give yourselves as many chances to get that window as possible. And that's exactly what they did. It may have been quirky as hell. There is no way Sivert should be able to outpoke an Ashe, then outpoke the Zenyatta as well, all in the same play. But they did it. They made it work somehow. And you just take those opportunities. And it didn't matter the fact that the Bastion was still alive at that point. Dominus had dropped off the high ground. You isolate him and get him down as well. And this Bastion has to just hide. And that's eventually what you saw, right? You keep pushing that payload until Bastion's forced to come to you. Forced to get into that melee range where you just melt it down with the Symmetra. Brilliant work by the artists to play to their outs. They played to their outs and eventually they found it.
And honestly, with all of that playstyle coming together, artists have again shown themselves to be why they take these. They're the champions for a reason, and now they have to become champion again in our match number 3, or map number 3. So let me ask you, Golu, looking at this next map coming up, it's going to be one of those pretty not so even styles, in my opinion. This is the game mode that I dislike the most. So this is a little odd in my opinion, but what are your thoughts going into this next payload map?
I'm kind of hoping we don't see Havana, if I'm being completely honest. I think
Fair.
Every game we've seen Havana, it's just been very cheesy. I'm kind of sad Route 66 isn't in the pool. If I'm being completely honest, I think Route 66 is really fun. But, I mean, look, let's be real. If you've seen my take so far, the maps I enjoy, Lijiang Tower, Ilios, Kings Row, right? Route 66, Hollywood. It's just all the old maps.
1, yeah.
It's just all the old maps.
If you play Overwatch 1, you know what peak map design is. If you play Overwatch 2,
honestly,
you know how to be disappointed.
Give me like the 2CP maps as well. Hanamura, loved it.
I miss Hanamura. I miss it so much.
Honestly, just find a way. I'm begging you, Blizzard, find a way to adapt Hanamura into a hybrid. Right? The first point stays the same. You know the spawn room? There's like the little like underneath bit where the mega health pack was in the small hut.
Yeah.
Make that into a little garage. Just turn that, like, the bottom bit of that, turn that into a garage. You cap the bell, the little doors, like, you get the sort of shutter slider doors, they slide open, and there's like a wagon in there. And then you ride the wagon into the temple. You make that middle bit a bit longer, you add another point there, the temple becomes a bit further away, and you get to have that temple fight still, but the high ground would be less powerful because you're forced to drop down to contest the movement of the payload. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Hanamura as a hybrid map would be goated, but that isn't the point of what we're here for.
True, it would be pretty neat, but another map that I really miss from the double CP era, Don't say Horizon Lunar Colony. Oh, hell no. No, that one was awful. All right, that came out, then Hammond came out, and the game just went in a different direction. But I'm talking about Volskaya Industries, all right?
Classic.
The amount of, like, overtime, like, MVP moments that happened at the second point on Volskaya, it just made casting it so fun. So unfortunately, we don't get to see that, but what we will be seeing is these guys now moving their little butts forward into our next game, moving right on in. But it actually looks like we are going to be taking a short breather for the players. They've been playing a lot today, so we will cut to a short break and be right back with maybe the last match of the day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was a joke. We're going on Junkertown. Welcome, everybody. It's payload time. We got the Queen's map, and are we going to see a Junker Queen, Golu?
No.
Okay. Good to know. You had to ponder that one.
had to just double check, look at the top 3, see what was there, shuffle them away. Because I think this is going to be a little bit of more of this long-range line of sight, and you can instantly see both teams. What do they lock in? Long range, poke compositions. Of course, it's the Sigma. Look, no longer quite as broken as they once were, but when you see, especially on a lot of payload maps, these longer sight lines open up, I'm thinking after first point, we might see some of these, one of them get worked away, maybe both of them, as they move on to other sort of picks, but for the start, you've got to bring it out. And immediately, with suddenly locking in the Widowmaker, it makes a lot of sense. If you want to get some of this high ground positioning, you can throw that barrier up to be used by suddenly, move down onto the point instead, and then you have sort of the ability to cover in 2 positions with the suction that you have as well. Sonder still rocking this Bastion. Very hard operator to try and take out with this Widowmaker because the headshot isn't a one-shot. So yes, you've got this double sniper composition, but a surprisingly survivable DPS in the pocket of Sonder.
Yeah, very survivable and very nice to watch. But let's see if they are going to be able to keep up that kind of energy. Right here, I'm looking at mainly Pizza Lovers Hanzo, who has been known to get some insane entry frags for their team. Might be able to bring that same kind of energy into this next round here. That's exactly what we want to be looking at now, as we are seeing Pizza Lover fall, though. Isaka is just the tank of your dreams. If you are a player, you are afraid of Isaka, and Swoosh is going to grab Dominus, and Artists still proving their domination here by just cleaning house.
I'm not a player and I'm scared of Isaka. So that's all. That's like, as far as I can say, very much a true statement. I'm gonna have some nightmares tonight about this man just running in and just slapping me in the face with hovering balls. But now, ooh, another dink. See, this is another opportunity. There have been opportunities for them to take out Sivart, where they just try and catch them off. But again, these dinks not quite coming through with the final blow. And it's led to situations like this where they're just forced into really uncomfortable engagements and they overcommit on a player who they think they can catch off, but ultimately can't. Dominus on this Orisa again to try and chase down Sonder, but there's not really enough follow-through from the rest of the team. Suddenly on Pizza Lover, on the Sojourn and the Hanzo, not a sort of team composition that's really going to benefit into isolating a Bastion.
Yeah, and this Lucio just distracting Pizza Lover. I mean, so much going on in the face of this player. Now they have to stress out just a bit, but Savart is going to be here for something, and unfortunately, DBX is down, Pizza Lover is down, and so is the Todd. You got to add the 38, but right now, this team, the Artists, they're eating up this team of Wolfhounds, and these Hounds, I don't know. I think they didn't get let out.
It's so rough to try and see them play through this as well, because you have basically two options, right? Which is you either play to your own win condition or you play to counter your opponents. And at the moment, we're seeing from the Wolfhounds, they're playing for a win condition of their own, which is this double sniper composition, but they're not getting picks. The whole point of double snipers is you get picks. You find a way to isolate one player, you get a headshot, you take them down, and then you fight with all that space that taking down a player alleviates. And in theory, it's a lot stronger in Overwatch 2 than it was in Overwatch 1 because there's one less tank to cover you, and then there's only 4 left as opposed to 5. The importance of each player is much larger. The Transcendence comes out, but it's so far not really gathering any benefit as the beat drop immediately meets the Orisa ult, and they just get slapped back in the face once again. The Wolfhounds are down to 60 seconds, and they have not yet passed the bridge. They are not past the first real corner of this map.
Yeah, we've seen one slight turn this entire time, and now we're seeing more switch-ups. Pizza Lover switching off the Hanzo, going into the Genji, might be able to turn things around here. Suddenly, still on that Sojourn. We haven't seen them pop their ultimate yet, but if they do, they're going to have to take out the Mei. They're going to have to take out the Baptiste if they want to make real progress here. So, well, that's not going to work. Wall just cuts them completely off, and this Mei just buys so much time. The Artists know how to stall, and they are doing it well. And look at that, they can't even do much. And there we go, finally an ultimate. The Sojourn's managing to take out Sonder, but you got to get the people on the cart and back your teammates up. And yeah, it's working. You're doing the damage. You're cutting them in half, and cuts them in half with a nice dash. Do it again. Yeah, good job.
Neon slash. But again, it's overtime. So now you got to stop them from getting back onto this point. Admittedly, you've bought yourself a lot of time because some of those kills came through quite late. So it's not going to be a full contest, at least early on. The Symmetra already doing a good job at getting them back quickly, though. And a charge being led by the Reinhardt onto the point. It's going to be Dominus' job to keep them in check.
Wow. Let's see it now. Should be a decent push-up. Rocking it into maybe touch, and if they get pushed off, this is OT with a little bit of a cook time here, so it's not working too well. Suddenly is getting the picks, but they C9, no, Pizza Lover touches, and that's gonna buy just enough time to watch Suddenly die. So good effort, but that's the end of our finals, I believe. No, I'm kidding. Wolfhounds has to defend now. I jumped the gun there. Sorry, Wolfhounds, you haven't lost yet.
There's maybe 4 minutes before they lose. I'm sorry to be
confident.
I'm sorry to be rough, but this is going to be a tremendous effort if the Wolfhounds can bounce back from this. However, if you ever wanted a more heroic reverse sweep story, if the Artists ever wanted to tell a badder beats story, this is what it will be. This is where it has to come through clutch for the Wolfhounds. Especially because I'm expecting some sniper compositions coming out from the Artists as already Siva just on that Widowmaker. Sonder rocking the Bastion still. It is the only hero that Sonder has played. Now, Overwatch classically is the game of you pick the 5 most broken heroes and you run them into each other until one team wins. That hasn't been the case here in Welsh Esports League, and I've been very happy to see that teams have been playing into the traditional counter picks, rather than seeing who can play the broken thing better. It's also potentially a testament to the game being in a decently balanced state at the moment, but I'd never want to give Blizzard too much credit. But the cheese comes through, already running into the spawn.
Wow. I mean, we saw a similar strategy pull out from the Wolfhounds when they were on Havana. So this could be a strat that maybe works out for them again. If we remember that, it worked so well that Pit Ponies couldn't even leave spawn. So let's see if they are going to be able to manage something from this. But I like the angles. They're kind of just vying for Dominus's affection. And no, they just TP right past them. The power of Symmetra. It's not like Havana. You don't have a choke point that leads to nowhere. No, we have a lot of problems if you want to touch point. And so far, they are scared off.
Locked inside a small room is not where you want to be when when Sigma comes walking around, just eating up all the damage from suddenly, but still the kills falling in favor of the defense for the time being. I say that as Sonda and Velvet finally find 2. Saka makes it a 3rd, and yeah, Sonda does fall down, but he'll be back very swiftly because the spawns are closer to the attacking team. The rest of the support lineup going to be chomped through pretty swiftly, and this payload is on a roll. DBX trying to get back. That's a massive stagger to lose your Lucio as well. Fortunately, Todd already having that wall built up. Baptiste, what a hero, by the way. Out damages the DPS, out heals your other support, has a lamp, has the window, which basically turns him into a one-shot machine. Does it all, does it all.
I think that what they've done for like every support to be added to the game in the past like 2 years, 3 years, it's just been make it do everything so everyone has to play support.
Well, suddenly and Sonda both going down. The Bastion's out for the count, but Todd is as well. Sivar able to get so much damage done, and DBX not having enough. Bopped out the beat as well, which is going to secure the point for the Artists. They are our Season 1, Season 2, Season 3 champions. The back-to-back-to-back is completed, and in the most dominant fashion we have seen. A clean 3-0 in the semi-finals, a 3-0 in the grand finals as well. The Artists have not, get this right, have not dropped a map all season long.
Oh, come on. A map?
They have not dropped a map all season long. 9-0 in the group stage, 3-0 in the semi-finals, 3-0 in the grand finals.
So they flawlessed the entire Welsh Esports?
The entire season, Edu.
Oh
entire season they flawlessed. This team is unstoppable.
Okay, well, you might recall that I was a little hopeful that Wolfhounds was going to do pretty well. That's out the window. That's gone. So honestly, GG's to the Artists. I mean, if you flawless a whole season, you've earned it. So congratulations. I think you win roughly about $600 US in prize money, and roughly, I believe that's about 500 GBP. So a lot of money here for these players to walk away from, $100 per person. And they did it pretty effortlessly, I would argue, with how, nobody really came up to challenge them. So Golu, Season 3 of the Welsh Esports League Overwatch has officially come to a close. Any closing thoughts regarding that?
The Artists are very good.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my closing. The Artists are just very, very good.
Absolutely. And you know who else is very good? Our observer and producer and everybody on the back end that actually came in here to get things going. So shout out to Slayer John for putting together EsportsWales. Shout out to Kashi for cashing out on being our producer and doing a great job. And Finhay for doing the camera work. So we can't do it without them. But with all of our production people shouted out, that's all we have for the day. Make sure to check out Golu Molu on their Twitter and all the Twitters regarding EsportsWales, or it's called X now, but it's still Twitter. We all know that.
It's still Twitter.
It's still Twitter. And you guys are still awesome. So we'll see you next time at the Welsh Esports League. Thanks for watching.
I just want some action for no fee. I see your random beautiful face. I fell in love from afar, just like a scene from a Shakespeare play. But I had no idea what to say. And I said, hey, what's your name, girl? 'Cause you seem like the best of fun. What's your name, girl? What do you know, my luck was in. I got ready for a night of sin. We drank another shot or three. Played one for you, two for me. I got so drunk from the game that I completely forgot her name. And I said, hey, what's your name, girl? 'Cause you seem like the best of fun. What's your name, girl? Sure I wasn't your number one. Hey, what's your name, girl? Couldn't believe what I could see. What's your name, girl? I wanted you all for me. Hours later, sun wakes me up. I roll over to see an empty cup, and all that's left is a hasty note. And this is all she wrote. Thank you for that drink for free, but you were way too drunk to get up for me. I hope this fills you up with shame, and I know